Thanks, Green. On lowering prices, you said earlier that the actions the president has taken have worked. So is it your sense that when people were home for Thanksgiving, catching up with their family members, they were saying to each other, can you believe how much more affordable things have gotten?
So honestly, I wouldn't. I hear the question.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this.
But I want to make sure this is very clear. We take that very seriously. We take what families, the decisions that they make at their kitchen table, whether it's during Thanksgiving or whether it is every month as they're trying to make hard decisions about how they move forward with taking care of their family. We take that very seriously. It's not a joke to us. It is important to us. This is the president who talks about it in a very personal way when he talks about what families have to go through, working families, middle-class families, and that's why he's taking actions that he has. And so, look, the fact is, the data shows that the economy is improving. The data shows that households remain in a strong financial position. Household wealth is at a record high, with lower income households seeing the largest gain since the pandemic. Those are indeed what we're seeing. But we don't take lightly. We do not take lightly what Americans and families continue to feel. That's why the president at 2 o'clock is going to talk about what the actions that he's taking to continue to lower costs.
But why do you think it is that when you say the economy is improving and President Biden says the economy is improving, that a majority of Americans outside of this building are not buying it?
Ooh, that's a bingo.
So here's the thing. When we walked into this administration, the economy was on a tailspin. That is the fact. Because of the last administration, because of the Trump administration, because of how they dealt with COVID and the pandemic, because they didn't have a comprehensive plan. The president came in, he passed the American Rescue Plan, which was able to get the economy back on its feet, which was able to open up small businesses were able to open up, schools were able to open up, and we understand what Americans have been feeling over the last 2-3 years. It's going to take some time. We get that. It's going to take some time, but it does not take away how we have seen the economy getting back on its feet. We actually had to fix the problem that we saw that the last administration left us.
But almost 3 years in office, inflation is up over 17% since President Biden came here. And you're saying that's still Trump's fault.
Inflation.
Got him! Got him!
Inflation is moderating because of the actions that this president is taking.
Doesn't that just mean that prices are going up slower? They're still high.
It's going down. The prices are going down. If you look at for a perfect example, I mean, I just talked about last week how turkey price, the cost for turkeys is going down. The cost for eggs is going down because of the actions that we're taking. I just talked about supply chain and how that affects the economy, and that's because of the president's action that he's taken. And if you think about gas prices, it's down by $1.70 since its peak because of the actions that this president has taken. So we understand that people are still not feeling it. We get that.
No.
But doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to talk about it. Doesn't mean that the president at 2 o'clock is not going to talk about how he's lowering cost, right? And let's not forget what Republicans are doing on the other side of again, Pennsylvania Avenue. They're trying to increase healthcare costs. They want to get rid of Medicare. They want to get rid of Social Security. That is something that we saw them try to do at the State of the Union, right? They do that over and over and over again. They want to make sure the millionaires and billionaires are actually getting the benefits, right? And so that's not our way. Our way is to build the middle class from the bottom up, middle out, and the president believes in that. He talks about it. You're going to hear him talk about it in about an hour, and that's going to be our focus.
What a bunch of fucking bullshit.
Okay.
Green, the supply chain announcements today are rooted in all the issues that came up back in 2020, 2021, when a lot of it was rooted in shipping and holiday shopping and whatnot. I'm curious, does the president or first lady do any online shopping? Have they had any, no, seriously, have they had any personal experience with the frustrations that American consumers across the country felt in recent years?
So
That's a good question.
Agree. There's been some frustrations that obviously that the American consumers have felt recently, which is why we took those actions. You just listed them out, and they've been beneficial. I've talked about the containers where we were 2 years ago, where 100 containers were declined, and now we're at 8. Right? I talked about October 2021, as you just mentioned, to October 23, and how supply chain pressures, how much they hurt the economy, which is why the president continues to make these announcements. This is what you're going to hear from the president at 2 o'clock. Look, I can't speak to the president or the first lady's shopping strategy, how they go about it, but they understand what Americans are feeling.
No.
That's why we keep talking about lowering costs. That's why we're talking about something that's so important, like supply chain, as it affects the economy. But look, what we believe is the president's action, what he's taken, the actions that he's taken has worked. And we see that with the holiday season, right, with families and how we've seen lower prices coming down.
So no word if he's shopping at Amazon or
Well, I could say this.
for Commander.
Well, I could say this. You saw the president on Saturday,
Shopping
right?
small
On
businesses.
Friday,
That's
small
why I asked
business.
about
But how
online
important
shopping.
it is, right?
Right.
Shopping for making sure that small businesses are an important part of the economy. And you saw the president, the first lady, and his family making sure that they were visiting small business on going into the holidays.
And I suspect if we polled the room, many of us will probably ask some version of the following question.
Okay.
Given the president's sagging poll numbers and the fact that he is currently placing behind any Republican opponent, has there been any talk in this White House about a change in strategy or staffing going forward in reflection of those numbers to continue to show him underwater?
No.
Good one.
And there was also a call out in recent weeks to staff, to senior officials, that if you want to go by the end of the year, go. Otherwise, you're here for the duration of the rest of the term. Should we be anticipating any departures of either cabinet officials or other senior officials?
Look, I can't speak to people's personal decisions. We don't have anything to announce at this time. And, we're going to continue to do the work that the president set out to do. And we just talked about supply chains. We just talked about the economy. We've been talking about the president's leadership globally, especially in the Middle East. That's what we're here to do and focus on. That's what I'm here to do, to focus on. I just can't speak to people's decisions. Okay.
Corrine, I had an in-depth conversation with Stevie Wonder last night, who is,
I love Stevie Wonder.
again, for the serious question. I had an in-depth conversation with Stevie Wonder last night, who is requesting a meeting with the president. He's very concerned about the Black agenda falling along the wayside and issues like laws of 50 years ago that are now being abolished or gutted, to include issues like the Voting Rights Act, what happened in Arkansas last week, affirmative action, Supreme Court, we've seen it, ban on books, and he's also even brought up issues of the Congo and the lack of information from the White House.